So there was an announcement last week. Stephen McKinnon, Canadian Transport Minister, announcing, and many people with them, Prime Minister, of course, involved, that we are finally, after so many years that this has been talked about, going to get a high-speed rail link eventually between Montreal and Toronto. Now, the first part, which was announced last week, it would be connecting Montreal and Ottawa. There'd be a stop in Laval. A lot of people sat back and went, wait, finally, we're getting this. Yes, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's estimated by the time this is all done, that will be in excess of $60 billion, but private equity would be involved as well. Now, off the top, you're thinking this is good news. As I said, we've been waiting a long time. Paul Langan is founder of the advocacy group High Speed Rail Canada, and he is on the line. Mr. Langan, this is good news, as I said. Explain, first of all, when you say you're with an advocacy group here, you've been pushing for this for a long time.
Hey, thanks, Aaron, for having me on the show and dating me slightly. Yeah, so about 25 years now. And it is nice that you asked me about the group. So basically, I don't receive any funding from outside sources. And yeah, we've been fighting. And the main way we do is just educating Canadians about high-speed rail.
Well, some people ask the question then, okay, we've been talking about it forever, advocating forever. What are the benefits here to having this done? Because the money to get it done is obviously very, very large.
Yeah, well, let's talk about job creation and GDP growth. This project is expected to generate like 50,000 construction jobs and add $35 billion to Canada's GDP. So this is a massive economic stimulus. And, Prime Minister Carney modernizing our defenses and our Build Community Strong funds, billions and billions are being spent because we have to fight the tariffs. And this is one with our critically outdated via rail that it's time to have a modern, efficient, and effective high-speed rail.
Now, people hearing this might think, okay, this makes sense, as I do. We've been talking, as I said, about it forever. This will be good for everybody. It's good for business. It creates jobs. But, not everyone's on board, Mr. Langan, right?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is that people don't understand the situation we're in now. We need to get economic independence. And then the second thing is they don't understand how bad it is now with our current via rail, the follow the freight train. If we haven't modernized our passenger rail in 50 years, this is what we're resulted in. We have to spend a lot of money to get it up to date. But, this is a generational investment in national infrastructure that will serve Canadians for 50 to 100 years. So this is we're not talking about spending this money and, this is good for the next 5 or 6 years. This is good for a century.
Which leads me to wonder why the Canadian Taxpayers Federation has come out and taken a position entirely against this. They'd say the headline is High Speed Rail, a Costly Boondoggle. Franco Terrazzano is the federal director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Franco, thanks for being back today. You heard what Mr. Langan is saying. I would think most Canadians would agree with that. Why don't you?
Well, hey, happy to be the rain cloud on the show today. Look, I actually completely disagree. I don't think most Canadians would say, yeah, let's spend tens of billions of dollars for a project that may benefit one corner of the country. But more to the point, look, I think you ask Canadians what your priority is right now for the federal government, and they're not going to say a high-speed rail so that you can go from Montreal to Ottawa 1 hour quicker. And then the other question here is how is the government going to pay for this? And that is a very serious question, okay? The federal government borrowing $80 billion this year before you even talk about a high-speed rail, and the government is so broke, it is so in debt, that the federal government is now wasting more money paying interest on the debt than what it sends to the provinces in healthcare transfers. So it all goes back to priorities. I know many Canadians are worried about affordability. I know many Canadians are worried about wait times, whether it's going to a hospital to get an x-ray or waiting years to get a hip replacement. I don't know too many Canadians, especially outside of this corridor, that are saying, yeah, let's let the government take tens of billions of dollars from taxpayers so that we can get a high-speed rail that'll let you go faster from Montreal to Ottawa by about an hour.
Well, to your point, why does that, healthcare and, food prices, why does that have to preclude a high-speed rail? What does one specifically have to do with the other? Why can't we do both?
Well, a dollar spent, hold on. A dollar spent on this high-speed rail is a dollar that is not going to healthcare. It's also a dollar that's not staying in Canadian taxpayers' pockets, right? This is not new money that is being dropped from the sky. This is dollars that are either being taken out of the economy for this or dollars that are being taken from taxpayers' pockets. And look, if you want to push for high-speed rail, then I think you got to be honest with Canadians and say, yeah, we want tax hikes to pay for this. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation, we're saying absolutely not. The government should not be raising taxes to pay for the high-speed rail. But more to the point, the government has absolutely no money for this. There is no money for it.
But private investment is good. And I'm not going to make the point here. That's not my position here. Mr. Langan, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, and I think that's important to know that, unfortunately, your guest doesn't know. In the design, build, finance, operate model, a significant amount of the risk is shared with the private sector consortiums. So that's number one. Number two, and I guess is our guest against the $51 billion for roads, ports, hospitals, and other projects? Is he against the $81 billion for Canadian Armed Forces?
Okay, hold on a second. I got to jump in here because a couple things. So, number one, you say I don't know how much private sector money is going on, and the honest answer is nobody does, because the government won't say. All the government has said is that this price tag will be between $60 billion and $90 billion. We have no idea how much taxpayers' money is on the hook for this. Look, if it's all private sector investment, I say go ahead. If the private sector wants to take on this risk and take on the benefit, let the private sector do that. Now, you make this false equivalency between a high-speed rail and reducing congestion in downtown cities. I think if you ask most people, hey, do you want to spend less time commuting to work by fixing the infrastructure in the cities, or you want high-speed rail to benefit one corner of the country, people are going to choose, hey, fix the road so I don't have to spend forever in traffic.
Again, my obvious question is always going to be why one doesn't necessarily have to preclude the other. We're not going to stop doing infrastructure because we're investing in a high-speed rail network. I mean, that's just not realistic.
But again, right, a dollar that you're spending here is a dollar that you're not spending elsewhere. Like, that is the matter of it, right? And look, like, we can't keep spending more money on everything forever. The federal government is up to its eyeballs in debt. So if you're for this project, you got to tell Canadians, what tax do you want to hike, or what else do you want to cut?
Okay. Mr. Langan, anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, first of all, you mentioned something about reducing congestion in the cities. I never said that. It will definitely take cars off the highway and reduce the emissions. It is a nation-building thing. Cost-benefit perspective per year cost, if you spread this out over 50, 75 years of service life, it's about $1 billion a year, and that's similar to any other major infrastructure maintenance budgets, even highways. So I really don't know where he's coming from with this. I'm sorry to be like this, but we're talking about different things, and I support the modernization of our armies. I support the modernization of our hospitals, our ports, and our roads, and I support the modernization of our passenger rail system, which is a half a century out of date.
That is one of the other things I would raise. And again, I don't have as much information as either of you do, but it would seem to me that by not doing this, we just fall further and further behind where other countries are going ahead and doing this and have been doing it for so long. It obviously benefits them. I don't know why we think this would not be a significant enough benefit to us to just simply go ahead and do it when it's going to be spread over the next 50 to 60 years, Mr. Terrazzano.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of other countries, I mean, look at the problems that many other countries have had. Right? I mean, the project in California right now is all over the news, right? It was supposed to get built in 2020 for a cost of $30 billion, right? We're now 2025. That cost has exploded to, $130 billion? Like, this is not a project that is going to come in on time and on budget. If it ever gets built, this is going to be a massive, massive cost. And you know, I got to go back to this. Like, this is not a nation-building project. Like, let's not pretend that it is. It's not. It's a project that will benefit one corner of the country at a time when the federal government is massively in debt.
Mm-hmm. But they are two of the biggest cities in the entire country.
It's okay, sure. But look, that's still not to say, like, I get it here. I get what you're saying. And look, like, I understand that I'm on a Montreal radio show. I might be the bearer of bad news or the rain cloud, however you want to talk about it. But look, I think you asked the vast majority of Canadians what the priority should be for your public tax dollars. And I think for most Canadians, high-speed rail between Toronto and Quebec City isn't even among the 1,000 top priorities.
No, you're right when you say that, but I think that's a bit of a false equivalency too, because it would be bring down the cost of food or bring down the cost of housing, but those things are being done at the same time. I don't believe one necessarily has anything to do with the other. And with respect to borrowing this kind of money, and it is a huge amount of money, we don't know the breakdown between private and, government money or tax money here. But, we're at a time right now when, it's 2.25%. If you're going to borrow money, it would seem to me this would not be a bad time to be, borrowing money when you could amortize it over so many years. So we shall see. Look, I'm just happy. You're right. I am in Montreal, so maybe we have a bit of a vested interest in this. I'm happy to see this getting done because I think I think your California example, a bit unfair, trying to get that, rail line built there. This is not quite the same thing. We have existing rail lines here. And I think we could pull this off. And no one's even mentioned, although Mr. Langan did off the top, about the jobs that this would create. We're talking thousands of jobs, are we not?
Yeah, so you're 100% right. There's 50,000 construction jobs and $35 billion to Canada's GDP. And you're right, Aaron, it is so unfair to use the California example. One example out of the countries, Spain, Germany, France, Japan, China, England, that have effective and efficient passenger rail that are high speed for over 50 years. And this guest uses California.
Okay. Going to leave it at that. Franco, always appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Hey, well, that was fun.
Paul Langan as well from the High Speed Rail Canada Network. We'll see where this goes. It's supposed to start by 2029, I think, right?
The biggest songs in the world. You've heard them countless times. Now, learn the details of how they came to be. Join Ruby Carr for Encore, the stories behind the songs you love. New interviews and newly unearthed archive footage make for a fascinating weekly deep dive. Stream Encore, the stories behind the songs you love on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.